So hopefully you've watched my video on how to create a polygon and you can see that very basic shape that we drew to give us the outline of our house. Now I've gone on and done a bit more. I've created some more shapes. I just want to show you a couple of the bits that I've added just to show how I've done it. So I've added a roof. So I called those points R1 and R2. I only needed to plot 2 more points because as you can see the roof polygon, which is here, draws on 2 of the points that we plotted for the house as well. And as I did before, obviously when I plotted them, the points were visible, and by clicking on these icons to the side of our points, we remove the points from the view. I've also added a tree with a very strange shaped polygon for the sort of the branches and leaves of it. And if I look down here, you can see where I've added tree, and there's tree 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the trunk points, and T 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are to create the remainder of the branches. And so here is my polygon here, which takes 2 of the points from the trunk and then the points that I plotted to make the branches and leaves of the tree. And you can see if I hover in here, I could give a dotted outline to my tree. That might make it look a bit more tree-like. So perhaps I'll put that dotted outline in. And you can see I went for the green colour. And with the fill, I wanted it filled this time. And I've gone for a 0.4 here. This is how opaque your colour is. So you can go from 0, which is completely see-through, no colour, to 1, which is a completely solid filled-in colour, which I've done for my door and windows here. I went for 0.4. I could do the same here for the outline. So let's put 0.4 in there for my outline. And that makes my outline of my tree the same opaque setting as the centre of it. So that's how we can vary the colours a little bit. And let me just put in something to watch out for when you're creating your polygons. Let's look for the door. So these are these D points here. Now you can see I've got a rectangular door. But let's say I'd made a bit of a mistake and I put my points in the wrong order. So I'd put D1, D3, D2 and then D4. And you can see I get this strange, I suppose if it was curvy, it would be a sort of hourglass shape, wouldn't it? I don't want that for the shape of my door, but it might be a shape I could use somewhere else in my picture. I'm going to put my door back to how it should be. So D1, then D2, then D3, and then D4, which is those points listed in order in a clockwise direction. So that's what happens if we don't list them in a clockwise direction. I also want to have a little look at the chimney here, which is very small. And as you can see, my chimney doesn't go onto my main points on the corners of the darker, larger squares. So I've got this very small chimney. So let's just look at the points I plotted there, because I've used some decimal points here to get it nice and small. Now, as we saw, our axis is in twos here. So the middle point would be 11, but my points aren't at 11. They're at 11 point, my first one is on the 11. But this point above it here, C2, is halfway between the 6 and the 8, so it's on the 7. But it's halfway between the 11 and the 12, so it's on 11.5. So you can see I've used decimal coordinates in order to get my smaller shape. So you could possibly refine the shape of your tree by using decimal coordinates as well. Now, when I'm happy with my picture, I can get rid of my list of points. And if I go into the settings, which is this graph settings, which is this sort of spanner at the top here, I can get rid of my grid, I can get rid of my x-axis, and I can get rid of my y-axis, and I've now got a plain background, a blank background for my pictures. It's looking more like a work of art, loosely, than it was before. Okay, so a little bit more detail on how you can add a bit of interest to your picture. And I hope you have fun, and we look forward to seeing your entries for the competition.